this episode, we'll be wrapping up our time in Wellington, New Zealand's capital, and the final stop of our North Island adventure before setting sail into something entirely new. We'll board the Interisland Ferry and cross the infamous Cook Strait, leaving behind the city streets for sweeping sea views and the rugged promise of the South Island. Along the way, we'll explore the coastal charm of Picton, stop briefly in Nelson, and wrap up the episode in the one place that was destined to feature a quiet, unassuming town with a very special name. Owens Town. Not iconic, not famous, but how can I not stick it in the video? This is the beginning of a new chapter, a new island, and a road that leads, well, you'll see. Hi and welcome to Wellington. We are currently all the way south on the North Island, and it was a long old drive from Towport, which was I think five and a half hours, so it was a long old drive. We got here last night at like 8:30, so we were so exhausted, didn't really do much in the way of filming. We ended up going to a bar which was called the Dragonfly, which the food was incredible, but they only stopped serving food, so they stopped serving food at like 9. I think the restaurant closed, or whatever time it was by the time we got there. So what was like night snacks, a bit weird, had a bit of a night menu, but the food was amazing, a little expensive, but still top tier. And then from there we come back to the hotel, we completely crashed, and from that point on, and now it is morning, so you can see that's our view. So pretty incredible. We're staying at the Copthorne, which is right on the bay, Oriental Bay, in fact, and the docks are just there, so it's really quite nice. The only thing I will say is it is windy, like really windy. The receptionist told me, and I don't know how true this is, but the receptionist told me that Wellington is like the 3rd windiest city in the world. Don't know how true that is. Probably gonna have to look that up. Probably lies. Don't know though. According to worldbucketlist.com, Wellington is the windiest city in the world. The receptionist lied to me. But the plan for today is we've spent a lot of the morning, I've spent the morning doing some stuff for the videos ready to come out when I finally get home, because it's a bit of a downtime for us because we have 3 days. But the plan is to go into the city, into this big old thing, and then we're going to take the cable cars potentially, and then we're going to go up some mountain somewhere. I think it was like Victoria's Point or something, to get some real cool views of the city. You might get the drone out. We're going to have a walk of the harbour as well, and then from there, tomorrow is another full day, and then we're going to see what else we can find, perhaps in the city or even around the outskirts. Maybe go for a hike if our feet have recovered, all that kind of gun stuff. So yeah, just follow us around Wellington, I guess. Before we set sail off to the South Island, let's take a second to appreciate where we are. Wellington, often mistaken for being New Zealand's 2nd city, when in fact it's the capital. Sorry, Auckland. Wellington became the capital in 1865, mainly because it was more central than Auckland and, crucially, had a harbour big enough to fit the Royal Navy fleet in case things got a bit colonial. Today, it's known more for its creative scene, craft coffee, and wind so powerful it'll peel the eyebrows clean off your face. It's compact, walkable, and full of character. And yes, it's one of the few capitals in the world where you can genuinely walk from Parliament to the beach in under 10 minutes. This is a banger. Check that guy out. Santos Chiros. That is unreal. That is top tier.
After a few hours of wandering around Wellington, dipping into shops and dodging the wind, we needed a proper break, and nothing says comfort quite like ramen. We stopped at Hey Ramen, a cozy little spot tucked away in the city centre, the kind of place that doesn't shout for your attention but absolutely deserves it. Warm broth, rich flavours, and exactly what we needed to recharge before the next part of the day. Tucked away in the middle of Wellington is a place that feels like stepping into a time machine. If the time machine was powered by flashing lights and pure chaos. Welcome to Pinball Shop, a vintage arcade filled with decades of pinball history, blinking, clanking, and buzzing in glorious nostalgia. There's no swipe card or futuristic VR headsets here, just old school flippers, silver balls, and the deeply satisfying sound of losing a game in under 30 seconds. Whether you're a pinball wizard or just here to button bash your way through a few flashing lights, it's absolutely worth a visit. And let's be honest, how many places let you time travel and break your high score record in the same afternoon? After being thoroughly defeated by a few silver balls and a machine from 1978, we step back out into the Wellington afternoon, slightly humbled, but still smiling. We spent the rest of the day dipping in and out of shops, soaking up the last of the city's charm that blend modern energy and slightly odd character that makes Wellington feel so alive. Eventually, we grabbed some food, rested our feet, and then, because apparently we hadn't had enough buttons and flashing lights for one day, we finished the evening at one of the city's newer arcades. It was louder, flashier, and slightly less nostalgic, but a fun way to end the day of exploring Wellington's weird and wonderful corners. After a long day of exploring vintage arcades and far too many flashing lights, it was time to rest. Tomorrow would be our last full day in Wellington before the road and the sea carry us south. So now it was on to our final full day in Wellington, and it all started with the cable cars. Wellington's cable car has been running since 1902, taking locals, students, and confused tourists up to the botanical gardens and lookout point above the city. It's only a 5-minute ride, but the views at the top make it feel like a proper little journey. Plus, it's a great excuse to avoid walking up the hill. At the top of the hill, tucked above the city's hustle, you'll find the Wellington Botanical Garden. 25 hectares of native bush, exotic plants, floral displays, and the occasional bold pigeon. First established in 1868, it's one of the oldest botanical gardens in New Zealand and home to everything from ancient coyote trees to roses, cacti, and plants you'll absolutely want to touch, but definitely shouldn't. There's also a whole stretch of native forest running through the gardens, some of it older than Wellington itself. It's quiet, lush, and at the right time of year filled with the sound of tui birds pretending to be car alarms. And while the gardens are beautiful by day, they also come alive for special events like the summer concert series, which transforms the peaceful lawns into live music venues under the stars, or the Garden Magic Light Festival, where the trees get dressed up in lights, music echoes through the bush, and the whole place turns into something straight out of a fantasy film. Whether you're into botany, live music, or just need an escape from the city for an hour or two, the gardens are worth the cable car ride up.
So that's it. We've got our last day in Wellington was today, and we've just finished the botanical gardens. And as of tomorrow, about 1 o'clock, we're going to Picton on the ferry. The ferry's at 1, finishes at 4:30. So by the time we get to Picton, we're going to be on the South Island. So I'll see you there. Shout out to Mount Vic Chippery, because look at this, they've actually done a decent job. It's not cod, I'm not sure what it is. It's what was it?
That's with a G.
Gurunda?
Yeah, I think it's like
some fish begins with a G. And then got the gravy, which is nice. Tartar sauce, but the mix up. Curly fries with fish and chips. What are you playing at, New Zealand? That ain't right. But this is proper food.
After 2 days of exploring the capital, from hilltop gardens to retro arcades, it was time to move on. Our journey through the North Island had reached its end. We rolled into the Inter-Islander terminal, tickets in hand, and joined the queue of travellers, trucks and fellow road trippers, all heading south across the Cook Strait into the unknown. The ferry ride is more than just a crossing, it's a threshold. On one side, the familiar warmth of everything we'd already seen. On the other, the raw, untamed landscape of the South Island, a completely new chapter waiting to unfold. As the city faded behind us, there was only one thing left to do. Grab a coffee, find a seat with a view, and enjoy the ride.
Parked there, that's where we're parked. This wasn't actually it wasn't a very difficult process. Sam got the ticket online, we showed the ticket to the attendee, parked up, we was given a lane to go in, we stayed in the lane until we were called onto the boat. And each lane went on one by one, which made it very, very easy to deal with, which was nice. And then you just follow everyone else, and the attendees tell you where to park, and we parked. And that's why we're parked there, somewhere right tucked away in the corner on deck 5. And I just said to Sam, I'm paranoid. I didn't put the handbrake on for some reason, and I don't know why. I'm sure it's on. Oh, barrier's gone down. No more cars on this deck. Oh, never done a ferry before. Inter-Island crossing. It's a first for me and Sam, actually.
The Inter-Islander Ferry has been making the crossing since 1962, connecting the North and South Islands across the unpredictable waters of the Cook Strait. Today, it carries everything from backpackers to freight trucks to fully loaded motorhomes and questionable road trip playlists. The journey takes about 3.5 hours, with prices starting around 75 New Zealand dollar per person. Though if you're bringing a car or motorhome, expect that to climb. A standard car will set you back roughly $200 to $300. For a motorhome, it can hit $400 or more depending on size and season. It's not the fastest route, but it's scenic, relaxed, and a rite of passage for any proper New Zealand road trip. Somewhere between two islands drifting across the Cook Strait, the engine hum fades, the sea gets louder, and for the first time in a while, the journey slows down. A good moment to look back. We started in Auckland, wide-eyed and jet-lagged, surrounded by busy streets and seagulls with a personal vendetta. The goal: head south and see what this country was really about. We wandered through Hamilton Gardens, glamped under canvas skies, bathed in natural hot streams, and stood beside some of the purest water in all of New Zealand, the Blue Spring. Then came Taupo, and that really left its mark with us. The landscape, the people, the pace, it was everything we imagined New Zealand would be. It was here after all those miles that we finally felt it, like we'd settled in. The rush of the UK felt like a dream, distant, foggy, and completely irrelevant. For the first time in a long time, we weren't rushing from one thing to the next. We were just here. We explored alien geothermal landscapes, hiked past waterfalls, and ended this chapter in Wellington, the windy capital perched on the edge of what comes next. And now, the South Island calls. A new road, a new rhythm, and a whole new story to tell. As the ferry glides into Marlborough Sounds, everything starts to shift. The light, the landscape, the atmosphere, it's calmer here. Wilder, like nature has dialed things up just a little bit. We arrived in Picton, a small town curled into the edge of the South Island, the kind of place that feels more like a gateway than a destination. And for us, that's exactly what it was. Because this is where the next chapter begins. A new island, a new journey, and if the scenery on arrival is anything to go by, it's going to be one hell of a ride. We drove off the ferry and made our way to the place we'd be staying at for the next couple of nights. Dropped the bags, stretched the legs, and set out to see what Picton was all about. Now, based on everything we'd read, Picton was meant to be something special. The gateway to the South Island, a must-see coastal gem. But at first glance, it wasn't quite what we imagined. It felt quiet, a little tired, not quite the postcard moment we'd expected after such a dramatic arrival. But sometimes a place doesn't reveal itself straight away. As we'd come to learn, Picton's charm isn't in the town itself, it's in the landscapes that wrap around it. The hills, the trails, the sea. It's a base camp, not the summit. And what surrounds it? That's where the real beauty begins. We started the morning right with a visit to Toastie Lords, a local spot that proves almost anything can be improved by putting it between two slices of toasted bread, and honestly, they're absolutely right. The next morning, we headed out for a short walk to Bob's Bay, a quiet little spot just around the coast from Picton. The trail hugs the shoreline, winding through native bush with the sound of the harbour just out of sight. It's a peaceful, easygoing, and a good reminder that some of the best bits of a place don't have road signs pointing to them. It's not dramatic or flashy, but it's the kind of place that makes you stop, sit, and just take it all in.
On the way back up, it's just going to be us complaining that it's steep and why we could do it. And this is not a holiday. My ears are popped. I got a bug that splattered on me. How's that work? Yeah, I'm going that fast. To be fair, I can see it. I think. And here we are, Bob's Bay Reserve, and it was a f***ing steep on this. We did make it. Huh, and there's toilets.
We spent the morning unwinding at Bob's Bay, the kind of place where time moves slower and the water is clearer, and you just start to forget what day of the week it is. After a few hours of doing absolutely nothing in the best way possible, we headed back into town for some food. We stopped at the Cortado restaurant and bar, grabbed a table outside and tucked into some seriously good food. The kind that just hits differently when you've earned it with a morning by the sea. Refueled, recharged, we set off again, this time aiming for somewhere even more secluded. Governor's Bay.
Next stop, Governor's Bay Recreation Reserve. Probably the last stop of the day, I think, before we go back and calm down and chill out a bit, because f***ing hell is it hot. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Governor's Bay. This shit looks like something from, I don't know, Doggo. This shit looks like something from Pirates of the Caribbean. It is stunning. I'm so glad we came here. This is fucking amazing. This is gorgeous. I don't even know if this camera can do it justice. Sam, wait till you get here. This is like paradise, quite literally. I have no words. I have no words other than I want that boat. I want that boat. Or that one. That's a nice boat. Oh shit, they got a boat over there. There's a boat there. That's sick. There. I think they're the ones who've got the dog. How is there no one here? Look at this, it's empty. How?
From Bob's Bay, we made our way to Governor's Bay. And honestly, this place felt like it had been plucked straight from a travel brochure, just without the crowds. Golden sands, soft grass underfoot, and water just so clear. It just looked almost unreal. The kind of place that quietly reminds you just how lucky you are to be here. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, but it didn't need to be. Governor's Bay was simply perfect. It was perfect. After leaving Governor's Bay, which we spent a significant amount of time at, we decided to head back into town, grab some food, go back to the accommodation and eat, then sleep, which was probably a good thing because we were both very exhausted. The next day, we decided to head into Nelson, which would be a quick stop off before we head to our final destination. But to do that, we had to go up a road called Queen Charlotte Drive. Now this is one of those routes that makes you want to stop the car literally every 5 minutes just to take a photo. It's a narrow, winding stretch of tarmac that hugs the coastline all the way to Havelock, or havelock, not too sure, twisting its way through the forest and hilltop views that make it almost too good for a casual drive. It's the kind of road that doesn't take you somewhere, it becomes part of the story itself. Our first stop in Nelson was Miyazu Japanese Garden, a tranquil space filled with winding paths, still water, and the kind of quiet that makes you forget you're in a city. The garden was created to honor Nelson's sister city relationship with Miyazu, Japan, and it's designed in the traditional Japanese style, complete with koi ponds, red bridges, and carefully placed stones that feel like they've been there forever. It's not huge, but it's peaceful, and after a few days on the road, it was exactly the kind of pause we didn't know we needed.
And that's it. We've finally left Picton and we are now in Nelson, of all places. A little quick stop off. But the plan is to spend a bit of time here. Look at that. Little Japanese garden. You've probably seen it so far. And then from here, we are going to be going to a place called Owens River Tavern, which is just south of here. Probably another hour or so. The only reason we're going there is because it's my name. But we're going to explore Nelson a little bit, have some food, do all that kind of good stuff. And then from that point on, we're going to head to Owens River Tavern, spend the night there, and then we're heading south a bit more just to, you know, keep going. I think that plan is camp a place called Hamner Springs, and then from Hamner Springs, we are heading to Christchurch. So a little bit of travelling yet. But I'm looking forward to Christchurch because it's actually a studio apartment. So we get to, you know, we've got a bit of a kitchen, we've got a washing machine, dryer. We can actually be human instead of living out of a suitcase and constantly living out of hotel rooms in a tent. So that's going to be good. But let's take a trip into Nelson Central and have some food, shall we?
After strolling through the gardens, we did what every good road trip eventually requires, a snack stop. Woolworths came through, as it often does, with everything we needed and nothing we didn't. We found a quiet spot by the sea and just stopped. No rushing, no filming, just a chance to breathe, snack, and take it all in. One thing we did miss, and somehow only discovered after we'd left, is that Nelson is the home of the statue marking the geographical centre of New Zealand. A small detail, but one we'll happily save for next time. It was our third day on the South Island. We started in Picton, wandered the calm trails to Bob's Bay, relaxed in the sun at Governor's Bay, cruised down the winding roads of Queen Charlotte Drive, and even found ourselves in a Japanese garden in Nelson. But the day wasn't quite over yet, because next on the map was Owens Town. Not a tourism hotspot, not exactly famous, but when your name's Owen, how could you not go? We rolled into town and checked into Owens Town Tavern, a humble little spot with a room, a bar, and more signs with my name on them than I was emotionally prepared for. It wasn't the flashiest destination, but after everything we'd seen in just 3 days, the ferry, the bays, the bendy roads, and the gardens, Owens Town felt like the perfect, slightly ridiculous place to end the day. A personal landmark, if nothing else.
This is the hotel at Owens River Tavern, or motel, I think it is. Pretty good. Got a fridge, microwave, you know, bed, fucking king size or super king bed, which is massive. Good shower. Shower head's a bit low, a bit weird. Bathroom, it is the essentially that just, it's the essentials and bog standard of a room. Really good value for money, I think. And TV. Although anyone that's in construction might see this is a bit weird, because I do. Look at that. Plug sockets and essentially a wet area or a wet room. That's odd, that. But look at the view. I like my area. This is Owens area. I like this a lot.
3 days in the South Island, and already it feels like we've stepped into a different world. The pace has shifted, the landscapes are bolder, and everything feels just a little more wild. From ferry crossings and quiet bays to garden paths and mountain roads, this leg of the journey gave us space to slow down, take it all in, and start connecting with a new rhythm. But this is just the beginning. The South Island has only just started to reveal itself, and what lies ahead of us is bigger, bolder, and a lot more remote. So grab a map, pack a jacket, and I'll see you in the next one.